you, dear friends. Thank you, lovers of mathematics. I am Tutor Cletus Okoli. In today's class, we shall be taking a look at solving this question on the board. It is an exponential equation and it is written, if x raised to minus 6 is equal to 64, then what should be the value of x to the power of 3? Watch to the end. Meanwhile, if it is your first time of stopping by, kindly subscribe to my channel. Also, like my videos. Let us dive in. Beautiful. Then, solution to this question. Given to solve, x to the power of negative 6 is equal to 64. We move on. By law of indices, one of the laws of indices that is called negative power index says that if a is raised to power negative 1, it is written as 1 all over a. It means if n is raised to power negative 2, it is equal to 1 all over n to the power of 2. I will do the same thing to the left hand side in order to clear the negative sign in the exponent. And that will now give me 1 all over x raised to power positive 6. As you can see it here from the laws of indices. Beautiful. So this is now equal to 64. Okay. At this point, permit me to do cross multiplication. And that means I take a cross multiplication. I will have 1 times 1 will give me 1. And the x to the power of 6 multiplied by 64 is going to give me 64, then x to the power of 6. At this point, our steps are very intact. You know, mathematics is life. Everything in life involves mathematics. Alright, we move on. If you don't mind, let us represent our 64 in index form, and preferably let it be in base 2. And 64 is written as 2 multiplied by 2, multiplied by 2, multiplied by 2, multiplied by 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then the 61, because 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16, 16 times 2 will give us 32, and 32 times 2 will give us 64. It means that 64 is the same thing as 2 to the power of 6, alright? 2 raised to the power 6, 2 into 6 times is equal to 64. So I can now write my 64 as 2 raised to 6 multiplying x raised to 6 is equal to 1. It is moving well. There is a law in indices that says if I have n to the power of 2 multiplied by m to the power of 2. By that law of indices, it can be written as n or to the power of 2. Okay? This is a very beautiful law in indices. We are going to apply it also to the left hand side. And what that means is that I have 2 raised to the power 6, I have x raised to the power 6, since the powers are the same. Therefore, I am going to use one common power for them. And I will now put my equation here as 2x all to the power of 6, then equal to 1. You know what? Mass is form. Mass is life. We move on. What we have now is 2x all to the power of 6 equal to 1. That is what we have now. And what next shall we do? Our interest is to find x to the power of 3. So let us work on this 6 to see how we can get 3 from it. And that means I shall now have this 6 written as 2x all to the power of 3 multiplied by 2, because 6 is the same thing as 3 times 2. Okay? 3 multiplied by 2, which is equal to 1. By law of indices, you can see what is done here, that if I have AB all to the power of 3. It is the same thing as a to the power of 3, b to the power of 3. It is a law in indices. And that means I can move 3 into the bracket to have 2 raised to 3 multiplied by x raised to 3. It is still raised to power 2 because this is 3 times 2. So if I have moved 3 into the bracket, I still have power 2 outside the bracket. Everything still equal to 1. Math is fun, math is life. Alright. What next shall we do? Inside the bracket, you know and can agree with me that 2 to the power of 3 is the same as 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4 and 4 times 2 is 8. It implies that 2 to the power of 3 can be written as 8 then x raised to the power 3 or to the power of 2 equal to 1. At this time, I have raised to power 2. If you don't mind, let me move this 1 from the right hand side to the left hand side so that I have it written as 8x raised to the power 3 or raised to the power 2 minus 1 equal to 0. Therefore, my positive 1 has gone to the left hand side and becomes minus 1. See this. 1 raised to the power 2 is equal to 1. 1 raised to the power 3 is equal to 1. So this 1, I can just write it as 1 raised to the power 2 since it's still the same thing as 1. My reason for doing that is because I want to create what is difference of two squares here so that I can now finally get my final, the last answer. Okay? Since this place is raised to the power 2, I still want to write my 1 as raised to the power 2. So it can be written like this: 8x to the power 3 into the bracket r raised to the power 2 minus 1 also raised to the power 2 equal to 0. With this now, we can now apply the law about the difference of two squares, where it is written that if we have a raised to the power 2 minus b raised to the power 2, difference of two squares, that is what we want to apply here. This thing is the same thing as a plus b into a minus b. This is the same. The left hand side is equal to the right hand side. If we open this bracket now by the right hand side, it is going to give us exactly what is written by the left hand side. And therefore, I am going to apply this law of difference of two squares to where we are now. Meaning that I will now write this. See, my a here is 8x to the power 3, while my b is just 1. Therefore, I can now write it as it is written by the right hand side, and that will now be a, which is 8x raised to the power 3 is my a, then plus my b, and my b is 1 plus 1 into the bracket. Then another bracket, my a, which is 8x raised to the power 3 minus my b, and my b here is 1. Everything is equal to 0. Beautiful. So what we have now is that this last step here is now written in difference of two squares form. Alright? Since this and this are the same, they are exactly equal as we have written it here by the side. Therefore, what does this mean? It means that the first bracket is equal to 0 and the second bracket is equal to 0. So let us take the first bracket. Therefore, 8x raised to the power 3 plus 1 is equal to 0. And from this, I can now move this one to the right again. And I will have 8x to the power 3 equal to negative 1. I want to divide both sides by 8. Remember, my target is to get x raised to the power 3. And if you look into what we are doing, you can now still see the same x raised to the power 3. So we are trying to make it to be independent. In other words, to be subject to the formula, to be alone. So that whatever that will be by the other side becomes our answer as it is given. Alright. So I will now divide both sides by 8, and that means 8x raised to the power 3 over 8 is equal to negative 1 all over 8. So that 8 cancels out 8 here. I have x to the power 3 equal to minus 1 all over 8. The first answer that we can get about x to the power 3. We come to the second bracket. We go to the second bracket, and from the second bracket we have there that this is the second bracket, which is 8x to the power 3 minus 1 equal to 0. The first one is equal to 0, the second one also is equal to 0. We do the same thing we did in the first bracket. We move this negative 1 to the other side, and that becomes 8x to the power 3 equal to 1. I divide both sides by 8. I'll have 8x to the power 3 all over 8 equal to 1 all over 8. So therefore 8 cancels 8. And I have left x to the power 3 equal to 1 all over 8. Second answer. In conclusion, therefore, the value of x to the power 3 is equal to 1 all over 8 or minus 1 all over 8. Final answer. Thank you for watching to the end. Remember to subscribe if it is your first time or stopping by. Also like my videos in my channel so that more people can have access to it. God bless you for watching.